Okay, I'm just going to check that this is coming through loud and clear for you guys. And this is going to be a little flash update. So this is the style of updates that members get. Normally once or twice a week, maybe more if there's a lot happening, maybe less if there's not much happening. But I thought I'd do one live this morning because we're at a pretty important little point here as we try and break out. There's been plenty of good news, especially last night. So yeah, I'll try and keep this really short. I'll just give everyone 30 seconds to tune in. Hey from Brisbane, says Sahin. Hey Tim, hey Michael. Happy to catch one of our lives. Ricky, Spanish dude, does that mean you're coming from Spain, Ricky? Okay, so Bitcoin chart. I've got my Bollinger Bands on here, an oldie but a goodie, and really just wanted to sort of show you here is that we've had a couple of sort of touches at the top end here, and we just haven't quite been able to break out, but we are starting to see that sell volume come in, and when we have another incline, it's not that convincing. And I think this was maybe around when we had some good news again last night around PayPal adopting crypto at all their merchants and whatever in the US. But we've 61.8% was the first bit of resistance there for all these 4-hour candles yesterday, and now we've come up and just touched the 78.6. So this is the next level that we really need to get over. It is creating a bit of a head and shoulders, and quite often you'll find that these shoulders are almost perfectly at the same level, or at least provide a little bit of resistance along with these daily levels here. So that's kind of, I guess, a little bit of a cluster that we have to get over. We've seen these other weeks as well, and then we've just got that all-time high. Really, now sites are different on different exchanges, but if we can get above there, then hey, smooth sailing. Let's see if we can go to new all-time highs. Look, I've said a couple of times, I'm still just not convinced that we're seeing anything like a stampede in December 2017 from retail. These volumes, again, low volume. The sell volume has been higher than the buy volume. That's not really the sort of stuff that's going to convince me that we're just going to rocket higher anytime soon. Ethereum looks slightly better, a little bit more buying volume recently. But every time I think we're going to break out, we just bottom bounce right around this fib zone. These fibs can be a little bit messy, I guess. But yeah, it's just hovering around here at the moment, waiting to make up its mind. But just look at this. There's a lot of sell volume where I'd prefer to start to see some buy volume. I guess the good news is when we get a bit of a capitulation and a wick like that can be that sign. That's the final little... you can hear it in my voice, almost people that are giving up or getting stopped out of positions before we can start a rally. So there's been plenty of action on alts still. They've been stronger. Whenever Bitcoin ranges, it sort of gives all those alts a chance. These are all the indexes on FTX and everyone's favorite, the shitcoin index. It'll keep going up until it won't. So it looks even more dramatic if we take off these Bollinger Bands. A rise from 830 or 840 to 8,400 is exactly a 10x in a couple of months. So no question that we're in alt season when stuff like that's happening. Final thing I'll just mention, this is a good pickup by Rahman, Troy, Kyle, Travis, the group I'm in, just posting another charting pattern as a possible sort of topping formation and what it would need to be invalidated. When we get outside these Bollinger Bands, the first time, we reach quite a distance outside. The next time we just kind of pop our head out or a little bit of a wick. And then the third time is just a touch. And this is just, I guess, what you'd call another divergence where you can see it on the RSI here. Price is going up, but strength is going down. And again, these aren't things that make the raging bulls happy. Same with our momentum indicators or your MACD or whatever. All those kind of things will be rolling over or losing their strength or momentum. So that's the sort of thing that we need to see change. Volume declining, the sell volume being bigger than the buy volume. Those things really need to change if we're going to have a strong leg up and get towards this 70 or 80 figure that everyone sort of focused on, or hey, maybe even 100. If that doesn't happen, I really don't mind. I'm quite happy for us to range and just build momentum for a huge finish to the year and let altcoins continue to shine. There's always something happening. But just quickly, a couple other things I want to show you. So Glassnode, one of our partners, level 3 tier, just so much juicy data here. This is the supply held by long-term hodlers. And this is another great top indicator. So long-term hodlers are selling into strength. This is the 2017 top. This is the 2019 sort of midterm top. Long-term holders selling. And here we have it once again since, September, October last year, selling. But if we just zoom in more recently, that's kind of slowed. So even long-term holders are maybe happy with the level of profits that they took. Things like miners selling, all the miners, we know that was really strong throughout this period, and then they paid off their expenses, bought their new hardware for the next round, and so those things are kind of behind us as well now. So that's, I guess, a positive sign. So the market's definitely finding some sort of equilibrium at the moment. Other than that, I wanted to just show you the news that we've had lately. You might have missed one or two of these things. You might have seen them all, but pension funds deploying 5% into Bitcoin last year. This is kind of in the past, but hey, this is just fantastic to start to see this kind of thing. FTX Stadium for Miami Heat. That's awesome. Along with the news, Michael Jordan has invested in Top Shots, and I did a bit of a write-up for the group this morning. I won't give too much away, but expect to see a lot more from the sporting space, and that's going to be a focus of ours in our research from now on. Peter Bryant tweeted this yesterday, Coinbase insolvent. There's been some news recently about how BlockFi, it's kind of this shadow banking lending system where if there's not demand, there can be short-term, I guess, sort of issues. But yeah, I think this was a bit of FUD. Coinbase IPO has been pushed back. Everyone's gone over their books with a fine-tooth comb. I don't think they'd be insolvent with the IPO. But anyway, it's just a strange thing for an experienced guy like him to tweet. Joe Biden announced another stimulus. Again, this was something that I thought would have propelled the market higher, but it just didn't. A couple of trillion. Tether announcing that they are going to have some of these more transparent audits. So, another huge sort of grey swan or clouds that hover over the space. This is more positive news. The PayPal news was just epic. They've spoken about it in the past, but officially launching, this big rollout at all their merchants and people can buy it everywhere. Oakland Athletics will accept and hold Bitcoin. This is the big one for Tesla as well, holding Bitcoin, not just selling it as some merchants do. The Korean premium that's been as high as 10 or 20% in the past is back. Huge demand. And we've seen that in different times of day, which is really positive as well, rather than just relying on, US times and big OTC orders through Coinbase to push price higher. So when I'm sort of running through these, and I'm surprised that this hasn't been enough to propel us higher. Look, I don't want to pick on XRP again, but how many times have I said that Ethereum and DeFi and stablecoins is all you need? It's the most superior system. It's so simple. You just don't need all this other stuff that others have been focused on. And they know that Ethereum is going to scale. USDC already has scaling built in and being researched. So just don't listen to a lot of the noise out there. The next 3 months is going to be absolutely epic for ETH in terms of scaling, for gaming, NFTs, payments. Those of you that donated to us through Gitcoin, thank you. All those payments are done through ZK Sync, it's called, which is another fantastic scaling solution. And I guess the last one was, the Suez Canal being unblocked, all these ships and whatever that are hanging over the markets, a big unknown. And now we've got some positive news. So with all that positive news for macro markets, stock markets, crypto, for us not to be able to break out to all-time highs, ETH had another little attempt this morning and just couldn't quite, they're the kind of things where I keep saying it, I just feel the market is a little bit tired or it just needs a little bit more time. And that's why for weeks and weeks I was cautioning to make sure you're sort of taking some profits when you're on these alts that are up 1,000%, 20x, 100x. It's just the way that I like to do it. And a few people have misinterpreted that when I get messages saying, hey, I sold all my Bitcoin. I never said to do that. And one of my messages is always that you should never sell all your Bitcoin. And sell what's right for you in terms of life-changing profits and being able to sleep at night and whatnot. So that is the focus at the moment. What I'm watching, guys, with the DXY, stock markets, $2 trillion isn't enough to get a new breakout to all-time highs. It's the bond market and yields, I guess, that are on markets participants' minds. They want the Fed to announce more bond buying programs and more money printing. Just finally, apologies, I had another wedding on the weekend, so no market update, but I think all my friends are married now, literally. So 3 and 4 weeks, and then Easter this week, and that does mean we'll be able to do that Decentraland launch party, hopefully the weekend after on the 10th. Those of you that have been waiting have been very patient, so we're trying to get Gary V to attend that. Checkmatey has joined the Nuggets News team, the family. He's been doing some on-chain research for us. We've got videos and written reports now, and this has been probably one of your guys' most favorite popular research pieces we do on the platform now. And we're partnered with Glassnode, Sentiment, and the TIE, looking at crypto quant as well, and in future long-term plans, all this will be integrated into the platform. So you'll be able to get all your notifications for what is happening on chain through the Collective Shift app, all customizable and whatnot. So those research reports are just under the research tab there, guys. Research calls, one of our new employees again, Nathan. He is from San Francisco, Silicon Valley. We've got someone on the inside now, guys. And again, plans are for our platform to be buzzing 24/7 as we have staff overseas now as well. We added this global search feature. So how often do people go, there's just too much information, it's overwhelming, even when we've got stuff categorized on the platform. And I said we want to build the Google of crypto. So we finally got our sort of, our AI, our predictive text, our global search feature, as well as the help center. A lot of this stuff is AI and automated now. And that just leads you to be able to search for what you want, whether it's old projects or a tutorial or whatever. That's just an absolutely awesome feature. And that's why we do our research, guys. Again, this week, an oldie, but a goodie, one that we accumulated between 3 cents and 20 cents and hit $2. So RAID network fits into that scaling that we always talk about on Ethereum. And you invest in things where you think the narrative is going to catch on in future. And that's exactly what happened. And we don't know how long it's going to take for the herd to realize that something is a good project. That's why we're patient. But I think that's just about all I want to mention, guys. Well, watching the price now to see whether or not this 78.6 is a bit of resistance. We're chopping around. We did break out of this channel. Hopefully we can flip that as support. But if not, if this sell volume just proves too much, maybe there's a little bit more of a correction or just range-bound activity on the cards for Bitcoin, because if PayPal news cannot, give us that boost higher to new all-time highs, I'm really starting to think, how tight is this market? Does it need a longer rest and a longer, bigger alt season when things like Michael Jordan keep popping up in the general public's newsfeed in crypto? Or is it just the market sort of taking its breath, options expiries behind us, and heading into the weekend or whatever it is, all of a sudden we're just going to have one of those days where things just go bang, $1,000, $5,000 daily candle, new all-time highs, and the euphoria kicks in. We keep that parabola going 70, 80, 100k. So a little bit longer than a flash update, but I hope you guys have enjoyed that style. If you have, head over, become a member, start getting these sort of things every couple of days, and I'll talk to you again soon. Cheers.